This is the weekly update for Mr. Fix's science class for the week of September 24th. Alright, so this week we basically finished up the Penguin Shelter Engineering Challenge. So on Monday and Tuesday they focused on, let's take a look at the test and reflection from the previous Friday. So they had to answer the questions, was your design a success, why or why not, and they had to cite evidence from the data table. What 2 changes will you make to your first penguin shelter? So they had to write down the changes and the reason for the changes, and then they did the redesign, which is very similar to the first design requirements, except for the specific evidence from trial 1 results that led you to make your changes. And then they had to do the price list for their design number 2, and then they built their shelter. And then on Wednesday we did the testing, and we recorded the data for all periods. And so just like before, we had we measured the mass before and afterwards. So before, the mass of the penguin, ice cube penguin, and then after 25 minutes, the mass after the ice cube penguin was in the shelter, again exposed to 110-degree heat in the container. And from here, the spreadsheet calculated the percent change and the percent mass remaining, and we entered the cost. And from the cost, we also calculated the value, which is the percent mass remaining versus the money spent. So the higher the number, the more value it is. And then we compare test number 1 to test number 2 and see if the percent remaining mass changed between test number 1 and test number 2. So the higher the number, the more the improvement on the shelter's effectiveness of preventing melting. And then we also had the value change. The more value, how much value did the second test improve on compared to the first test? And so again, a positive number means an increase, a better improvement. All right, so we did that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we kind of went over some questions on a certain shelter done by a student group. Again, using the terms thermal energy conduction, radiation, light transfer, insulator. We gave some questions on that for the students to answer and think about. And then also based on data, being able to read and understand and analyze the data. And then what students did is we then started the post-penguin shelter assessment in Schoology. So they either had to do a letter or the postcard. So we started that on Thursday. So there's a video that explains the directions and the rubric, and there's a template included in there. So they either chose the postcard or they chose the letter. So we started on Thursday, and it was due and turned in Friday. Then also there is an Edpuzzle Assessment, penguin shelter questions, that is here. So there's 7 questions, again based on kind of what we practiced on Thursday in class, on how maybe the shelter prevented certain types of energy transfer, thermal energy transfer, and analyzing data as well. So that's basically what we did this week. Hope you have a good weekend.